and they don't have assets against that debt because the asset is owned by the city. So it makes it look odd. Yes.
Okay, because
It does look, yes.
Because I can't find the debt anywhere in any of the financial statements. You know, when we start looking through these fund pieces, is all of that balance carry over debt?
It's all because of the debt payment that means you need the debt, yes, that they retain on their books. But there's not an asset to offset, because the asset is owned by the city under the general fund. Again, it's very odd.
Well, I understand it's odd, but how much of the $6.8 million is their debt versus losses in operations? And I think that's an important piece to be able to separate out. You know, if we know $6.2 million is debt, but there's $6.9 million in the hole, we've got $700,000 worth of operational loss.
And go through, yeah, different.
I think we need to break that down a little bit so that we can see that.
We can do something in that workshop and bring the auditors into as well when they come to discuss how they can probably better explain.
Well, I understand that it's the whole debt, but the debt balance is easy to look at. We can pull that out of an amortization chart that's in the documents. So we can say here in March of 2013, the debt balance is X. And of X part of that $6.8 million. I think that's an easy piece to do. I understand why it's being done this way. Okay, what I'm looking for is a way of being able to distinguish what is debt and what is operational loss.
And actually, those reports have been given to 4A because the debt's not recorded. The revenue and expense report for the end of the year was given to them, and we can go back and pull that really easy.
Okay. I'd like to see that if you don't mind.
Because then the actual entries that happen on debt don't occur in the revenue and expense. Yeah, it looks really...
But it's a scary number. It truly is.
What, Laura, on the hotel motel tax money that was moved accordingly in the budget amendment, could the 4A then allocate some of that money to the chamber?
It's not under the 4A.
It's under the general fund.
It's still in the general fund. No, the 4A doesn't have control. It's still the general fund. It's still the city's.
Okay.
The city, yes, decision is to they could give more to the chamber. They could, yes, I mean, they can.
Okay.
The council could do that as a different.
Now, can I make this recommendation that
We can put it back into the general.
put it back into the hotel motel fund? The money isn't going away. It's not going to change the balance. Instead of it as an expense, we show that hotel motel tax to be up, and then the council can consider later, do we want to dedicate all of that money to under the event center? Do we want to go part chamber, part visitor and tourist bureau? What are the options available, and what's the most cost effective getting our return on it? But to clearly say, okay, we're going to put it under the event center under our budget amendment.
Okay, it's just moving it over into a more appropriate, or we can leave it in the general admin, or we can, yeah, take both sides out and it'll net, it still won't affect the bottom line.
I would propose that
my thing is I would like to be able to go back and make sure, because there was bid money allocated. I mean, again, I wasn't here during the budget process, so we do need to make sure what needs to be left in the general fund.
Well, I think a certain amount of this obviously is going to have to stay in as an event center, hotel motel expense. There's no doubt about that.
I don't have
You know,
that right now.
Pardon me?
I don't have that number. I couldn't say let's only put 150. I don't know. We need to work on that number.
I don't want to delay the approval of this budget
You
amendment.
can remove
Can,
that.
pardon me?
You could just take that one, leave it in the, we can put it back in the general like it was, general admin department, and we can come back and bring another amendment.
And then
At
I
a
would,
later date,
Yeah.
but we'll still have this first amendment done, is what he's saying.
Yeah, because that, yeah.
I'm okay with that. If we put it back in the general fund or,
We're back to the general administration department. It's
Yeah,
still in the
that's
general fund, it's just went from one department to another.
right, that, I'm okay with that, and then we can look at it at a later date to further amend it as you're recommending.
Mayor, may I ask a question? Laura, we're putting it center that way. If the council decides before our next amendment is done that they'd like to give the chamber X number of dollars, they would have the right to say out of that line item, we'd like to give the chamber X number of dollars, correct? Being under the event center, even though it's showing under the event center, if they choose to give money to the chamber, it could come out of that line item, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that, I think.
And I understand what
I
you're saying.
think that, just leaving it out of there will keep people from thinking they allocated all that money to the event center. So I don't have a problem with your recommendation to our comptroller to leave it, in the general admin department. That way, nobody says it's gone to anybody specific at this time.
Unless there's other comment, with that adjustment of the hotel motel expense, or what are the two line items we would go back to, Laura?
When you approve the ordinance with the amended, with the line item, hotel motel expense,
And the offsetting one would be,
in the general administration department, and the hotel motel expense under the civic center department.
okay.
Actually, really, I don't even, it just
We just
wouldn't
delete
even
that?
happen, yeah.
We delete those two adjustments and then,
Yes, you can just say that, it's,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, with the amendments to delete the hotel motel expense from general fund administration
no, from civic center,
and from general fund civic event center, that's where they crossed out,
well, yeah, you want to.
balanced out.
Yes, because I'm gonna leave it like it was, is what I'm gonna do.
Right.
Yes.
Because under general fund administration, you've got a hotel motel expense of $297,000 as a debit, and then you have it as a credit under general fund civic center.
Yeah, 261.
Yeah, and the 35,691 total, the $297,500.
Yeah, it just, in other words, we're just not gonna move, that line, that entry is not gonna happen at all. It's gonna stay under the general fund administration department.
With that amendment, however we need to word it, Counselor, I make the motion to approve an ordinance for providing amendment number 1 to the operating budget of the city of Floresville, Texas for fiscal year 2012-2013.
I have a motion, may I have a second with a correction? I second
May I make a, I'm sorry,
it. Yes, sir.
go ahead with your second, I'm sorry.
Okay, may I go ahead and see the whole?
Was the second made?
Yes.
Okay. So what I hear Councilman Miller asking is 301-401-4102 be deleted. And what's the corresponding?
What did you,
It's given the revenue line item on the specific at the top, where it says move to new line, and then this one
you're gonna,
transfer.
line item 301-501-97401 is going to remain 300,000. And the line item that we were going to budget to is going to go back to zero, which was under the civic center department, 479, or for 97401.
And there will be, the attachment will.
Yeah, the exhibit A will be, because this is all, the whole thing is attached to exhibit A, we will make the change for the whole exhibit.
And then if you'd make sure that we all get copies of the amended exhibit.
Yeah, it'll be pulled into a whole document as well, like all the funds for the website, even the ones that weren't amended yet.
Okay.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Miller, second by Councilman Castillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Again, thank you, Laura. You've been a great help to understanding this and making these reports readable and followable and very tolerant of the number of questions and my fat fingers on the keyboard.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, and I just want to remember, budgets are living, breathing, working documents. And anywhere in anybody's cities, you can read, and they talk about their budgets, how you adopt it on September whatever, usually typically the middle of September. it will change, things do change, you have,
Councilman Morone, Councilman Miller didn't hear her screaming earlier today, one of those questions were sent, so.
Okay, on to item 3B, consideration and action to approve purchasing co-ops resolution. Laura, you might as well stay there.
that's right.
Long time no see.
This is a very simple one. This is entering into a interlocal agreement with with Region 4 Education Center. There is a, excuse me, company, or not really company, it's called the Cooperative Purchasing Network, TCPN, and the interlocal agreement allows Region 4, they go out and do bidding for different products, whether it's office supplies, equipment, other types of that nature. It allows us to piggyback without having to go out and do big, huge RFQs and RFPs in the newspaper and such. When we're not spending, $50,000 in office supplies, we still get the benefit of the larger entities, whether it's school districts, cities, counties. So all this is doing is allowing us to have a resolution and enter into a local agreement so that we can benefit. One of the vendors that's really important on this one is Office Depot, BSD. Right now we use Office Depot, we're not on the BSD contract, which is through TCPN, and it's a significant savings. So that's one of the major.
Counselor, did you review this document? Because if we look at under role of the member, school district, or public entity, item number 3, it says they commit to purchase products and services that become part of the official products and services list when it is the best interest of the member entity. Is that saying we have the option to purchase, or is this forcing our hand to buy products that they have?
Option. Yeah, it's just pretty standard. And we actually have 2 more I'm hoping to come through with some other interlocal agreements. We already are on with Byboard, HJC, and Tarrant County. So in Tarrant County, they go out for huge.
One of the other mindsets that Laura has brought to the table with the ladies up in the front and all the ladies within the office and myself is that you don't have to stockpile office supplies anymore. We're not in the olden ages when you had to have it because it was hard to get with a lot of this, they can get it here pretty quick.
Yeah, Office Depot and Quill even, but again, with this new contract, the Office Depot will be the best place through the BSD. It's here the next day. So, within reason, you have to sit with ink cartridges and they go bad, or pens that you don't use as fast and they dry up, so.
And our biggest purchase being paper?
Yes, paper and ink cartridges on regular office supplies, yeah. And we also are a member of the state DIR contract, just as a municipality, so also some things we're going to start purchasing through that. We didn't have to do it in a local agreement for that.
I'll make the motion to approve the purchasing co-ops resolution.
Okay, I have a motion. May I have a second?
A second.
Okay. Motion by Councilman Miller, second by Councilman Morones. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Now we're going to go on to item 3C, consideration and action on amending the attorney contact resolution passed on August 13, 2009 to better provide transparency and utilization of legal advice in accordance with the City Council's action on item 6B of the March 14, 2013 regularly scheduled meeting. Mr. Rosenberg?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, this is simply an item to implement what was discussed and decided, I believe, at the last council meeting, and put it in a slightly different format. And maybe the quickest way to get to the point of this is just to read the resolution caption. It's a resolution of the City of Floresville amending the attorney contact resolution of the City Council passed August 13, 2009. establishing that only the city manager or an individual authorized by the city manager may contact the city attorneys for legal advice required by city staff, establishing a procedure to ensure equal provision of legal advice to all city council members, and establishing an effective date. And the effective date would be presumably tonight. I think the background on this is to give each of the council members access to counsel, COUNSEL, and I think this is appropriate for a couple reasons. One of them we've not discussed in a long time, and that is that basically the attorneys work for the city council, although administratively we work with the manager and the manager's team. But basically, this gives each councilman and the mayor access to the attorney, and the quid pro quo, or the reciprocal is, the way this is presented, is that that information, if an opinion is requested, will be provided to all the other council members or the mayor, depending on who makes the request. That's probably the major provision here. A couple other items I'd like to just comment on. This sets out the procedure for requesting the information. The one concern I have, and I think all of you have been good about observing this, but just to reiterate, is that when something is requested, it's privileged, it goes to the council and the council members as a privileged communication. If it's to be deprivileged, or the privilege of communication between council and client is to be removed, it requires an action of the whole council. And that's simply so that we all protect each other in the event of litigation, or in the event some matter is requested by some third party, and you want to exercise that privilege under the Open Records Act. That is one of the Open Records Act exceptions that I cherish, because I don't feel like in some cases we can be communicating quite as directly if everything is not going to be protected under the privilege.
Can I make a comment real quick on that, Luke? Because this is a bigger issue in that not only electronically, but in council packages, and the number of pieces of information, to include even today's package, had some attorney-client privilege pieces.
Right.
I don't know if the appropriate action is a council directive or a staff procedure to separate these documents out, so that if we are getting privileged documents, that it's in a folder that says clearly privileged. Because when you pick up a document, a council package, it's got this many documents in it, you know, thumbing through it briefly to try and figure out what's privileged and what's not can lead to an opportunity for that information to be compromised. And I don't know if we need to do this as a council directive, and I know it's not on the agenda, but since you brought it up as part of this, I would like staff to look at a way of doing that, either as a council directive or a procedural issue, so that we can all ensure that we're not having this as a problem.
I think it can be just procedural. We are aware, and we've already talked about what we can do to alleviate that problem.
Probably the simplest thing to do is to have a colored slip sheet that's bright orange or bright something, and we know that that color denotes a privileged communication, and treat it accordingly, and pass it out when it's appropriate for consideration, and retrieve it when consideration is completed.
We can do that.
And I think that's the easiest way to.
That would just, if we did it that way, that would mean they wouldn't have the information prior to the meeting.
Well, I think we can get it to them, to the council members prior to the meeting. I'm just concerned that at the meetings, we pull it out at the end of the meeting, unless the council members for some reason want to have an executive session and determine they want to keep it. But I think this process we can work out. And I appreciate the comment, because there was an item in the package tonight. Fortunately, it was not a super critical item, but it was buried in there, and I saw it and I didn't catch it. So I apologize for that. The only other thing that I think that's important here is that the flow of communication Andy's going to monitor the flow of communication. I'm going to try to make a little better monitoring of the communication myself in our office so that it's clear on what subjects. Our billings speak to that, but I think that probably a little log will help that process. And one of the things we do in the office that some of you may not be aware of is we try to create a file anytime we see that you have an item for which Andy requests services or one of you requests services. I try to get Sonia to put a sub-file on it, and we try to track that, and we try to keep the computers to use that line item for retrieval purposes and access. So I think all of this fits together, and I know Amy and Sherry have done something similar to try and track on your end, and we give you a report. Are there other questions? I'm not sure that I can filibuster much longer without some pain.
No, I think this is good, and I think the key pieces to this are the things that we discussed at the last council meeting. That in summary, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is if it is a city operations issue, if it has to do with city staff or any city operations, those requests go through the city manager as they should. And on a routine basis, the city manager will report back to the council on the types of questions and the numbers that are going, so that we as a council have some visibility on that, whether it be monthly or quarterly. That, as this document states, may have to be done in executive session, but it's keeping us aware of that item of professional fees, but does not tie the hand of the council in asking a question and forcing the council to go through the city manager when in fact the city attorney does work for the council.
There's one other comment I want to make, and I'd like to guide from you on this. Again, this is not exactly on your agenda tonight, but while you were having your colloquy on the hotel motel tax, it did remind me of something. And I'll just use this by way of illustration. There's House Bill 56, or maybe dyslexic, it could be House Bill 65, pending before the Ways and Means Committee as we speak. I don't know that this is an issue that you want to take a stand on, but I at least want you to be aware of it. The bill is sponsored by a representative from Fort Worth. I want to say his name is Miller, but I don't think I'm right. The bill is designed to deal with the loophole, or what some perceive to be a loophole, in the hotel motel tax, having to do with the fact that if you sign up for more than, I believe it's 30 days, maybe 31 days, as a rental, that the hotel motel tax goes away, and the rental facility is no longer eligible for that tax. This is principally a small town community issue, not a big city community issue, because big cities have car rentals and other matters where the hotel motel tax applies and you don't. But just to make you aware of it, it's pending there. It's being pushed by some folks from West Texas with the other shale area who have similar experiences to what you do, which is building a lot of motels currently, and the municipalities in many cases are depending on those motels and the revenue from those motels as part of their ongoing development activities. Piece of information, I frequently bump into stuff like that, and I would like the council's leave to be able to send those things to you. Most of them I mark no charge, but I'd like to be able to pass stuff on to you without offending this policy. I don't think this policy needs to be amended for me to do that. But there are items that I come across because I'm in the water business, I'm in other governmental businesses, and a lot of these are applicable across a broad range of activities. So with that item, Madam Mayor, members of the council, I recommend approval. And if you have a question about my last comment, please ask me, or I can bring it back at another time, depending on your leisure.
Well, I would encourage you to forward us, particularly if we're doing stuff at no charge, if you believe that that information is beneficial to the council. I appreciate your this House bill and watching it to see if it gets any traction out of committee or not.
Not yet. It's been put on the pending calendar.
So,
As of today, it's going nowhere.
based on your recommendation and lack of any other questions, I would make the motion to approve amending the attorney contract resolution passed on August 13th, 2009 to provide better transparency and utilization of legal advice in accordance with the City Council's action on item 6B of the March 14th, 2013 regularly scheduled meeting.
Okay, I have a motion, may I have a second?
A second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Miller, second by Councilman Morones, all in favor? All opposed? Motion
Thank
carries 4-0. Now we're going to go on to item 3D, consideration and action to appoint a council member to attend settlement conference on Sicily litigation. Andy, would you want to speak?
I'm here, Mayor. Mayor, council, just as a formality on the issue with Paul Sicily versus City of Floresville, the attorneys representing the city wanted to have a council representative in addition to Mayor Diana Garza, City Manager Andy Jocelyn, and Planning and Zoning Committee Philip Vibon. So we have brought that to the council to see who wants to be appointed to attend a hearing on April 11th, 2013 at 9 a.m. in San Antonio.
Could I supplement that a minute, Madam Chair?
April 11th, 2013, 9 a.m.
This is in the form, as I perceive it, of mediation, and I don't need to spend a lot of time talking about the details of what we're mediating and why. But I do want to try to explain why it's important that somebody be there. Frequently, these end up being very constructive. We may not settle the matter on the date that you initiate the process. You may extend that discussion period a week, a month, sometimes a couple months. But it's important that somebody from the council that can stay with it, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 of you, go to the session with the idea of listening to what's going on, trying to figure out what you can bring back to the council, and staying with the issue. And I say that constructively because a lot of things are complex, and it's important that somebody take notes and be prepared to come back and discuss those notes with the council.
Do I have a motion?
I've got just another comment on this, and if I start to, this comes back to the motion that was made after the executive session on this suit. You know, the motion was to continue the defense, but also to consider mediation. And the council took that action after the term in executive session. Not that it's going to turn into anything, not that this mediation session is going to come with any decisions. Whatever comes out of that would have to be approved by this council. So, and a representative from the council really should be participating in that, as well as the 3 people that were listed in there. I did receive a phone call from the attorney as my name was brought up to be the council representative, and I was uncomfortable in simply being appointed to that, the council would have to take the action to appoint somebody to do that.
Any other volunteers?
I'm willing to go.
Volunteers that on the point? No, then we still have to be appointed. Yeah. If that's on a Thursday, is that on a Thursday? Yes.
Wednesday, April 11th.
11. I would volunteer for that day.
As will I.
So 2 can go, 3, how many can go? 3? 3? 2.
Got the mayor.
But I mean, one can sit, one can be a representative, one can,
Well, I'd recommend that you have at least two. And the reason I say three is because remember, it takes the mayor or the mayor pro tem plus three to make a quorum.
I make a motion to appoint Mrs. Castillo and Jim Miller.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Morones, second by Councilman Guerrero. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I abstain.
Okay, motion carries 3-1.
Madam Mayor, may I make one other comment? You're going to get asked at the beginning of the session, so I might as well tell you this, so you can answer it appropriately or feel comfortable, both of you, now that you've volunteered. You're going to get asked if you have authority to settle the case.
The answer is no, we need
If the
three.
answer is absolutely no, you'll bring whatever discussion you have back to the council. Okay? But I tell you that so you feel comfortable, and I've said that in public, and so you know your instructions. But the mediator's manual says that everybody's supposed to come to mediation with authority to settle. You have to say, because you're a public body, no.
So should we go?
Yes, you should.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, if we have no authority, what?
You ain't gonna go take no from it.
Mr. Miller can be the secretary.
My lunch.
Yeah, I'll buy lunch.
They'll furnish lunch for you.
Okay, now we're going to go to item 3E, consideration and action to approve street closure on Sunday, May the 12th, 2013 for a health fair. Figure that. Which street? It's right in front of Delilah's district.
Is it coordinated with the police department? Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. My name is Dory Perez. I'm founder of Now Ministries here in Floresville, Texas, and with me tonight is Rosa Travieso, a board member. And our heart, Now Ministries' heart is for the community. And so our mission statement is of some having compassion and making a difference. And with that being said, we'd like permission for street closure on C Street, right in between 3rd and 4th. And actually, the date is Saturday, May 18th. We'd like to request street closure for a health and wellness health fair.
Do you have times for that?
The time will be from 9 to 12. And we would like to provide valuable information as far as nutrition, health, and wellness to those in our community, adults, seniors, youth, and children as well. Our desire is to raise awareness because we know it's an essential element for the education and the life of those in our community. And we're believing that it's going to be a success, and hopefully we'll be able to make this an annual event. We have several vendors that will be coming out. We also work with those that have been affected with cancer, so we will have different cancer awarenesses vendors that will be out, and we will have men and women that will be able to answer information as far as Social Security, SSI, whatever the citizens of our community are in need of. As we know, sometimes resources are very hard to find, and so we want to be that avenue to help them get the information or the help that they need. We also have the mobile unit, the mammogram unit coming from Christahan, Santa Rosa. And so we're really excited about this event, and we would ask if you guys would, even mayor and council, come out and be a part of this. Again, we're so looking forward to it, and that's just our heart's desire, is to be able to make a difference in the lives of those in our community that do need help and assistance.
Is that on both sides of C Street?
We probably, at the moment, we have 12 to 15 vendors. We're going to try to keep it right across the street from Delilah's on the sidewalk. And so if we can do that, I think that would be best, and if traffic needs to go through, that they'll still be able to.
But you'll just need to have a station for the bus.
The bus would, they requested to be on opposite sides, so the back could actually be facing,
Like the courthouse.
the courthouse as well.
Is that going to conflict with the market days?
It's exactly the same day, market days.
And the reason we chose that date is to bring more people into downtown area.
The chamber's having market days that same day at the same location.
Oh, at the same
They use
location?
the whole
It's also finders keepers the
second,
second Saturday.
which means a lot more people out.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know whether I can get the chamber's manager to work with you guys to see if there's enough room for both of us.
If at all possible, we can also be on the opposite side. The only thing is the bus, because women will be going in and out for their safety, just so long as the back, if we, you know, if we can do that, that'll work fine, and we can work with the chamber, that would be great.
I don't know, the only concern I have, you know, obviously safety is a great big concern. If we're gonna have people out there, we wanna close the street, but the next consideration, and this applies consistently because this is like about the third or fourth street closure that we're coming across, is, you know, I'm certain the police department is capable of doing all of this sort of thing, but we come back to events like the Peanut Festival. My business is on C Street, between 2nd and 3rd. And for 4 days, the street is blocked off. No activity occurs on that street except the Child's Parade on Friday and the parade on Saturday. But for 4 business days, my business is blocked out. Now, before they do this, they come around and they advise the businesses, hey, we're going to be blocking the streets. I don't know if we have a provision in place for people coming in and requesting to close the streets that they are coordinating with the businesses that they affect, because the time frame that this is going on affects the businesses that exist in the J.C. Turner building, Jalisco's restaurant, the barber shop, all the way along the street. And if the city is suddenly closing the street for the chamber or for Now Ministries, and not consulting with these businesses, we're opening up a can of worms. We really need to ensure that all of those businesses being affected by a street closure, be it tomorrow or on Saturday the 18th, have some sort of coordination with their notification.
That was my question, because where would people park? Like they want to go to Jalisco's or the barber shop, where would they park? You know, they have to park way around the corner. So that's why I was wondering whether you would be using one side, but now they're, you know, in other words, it's going to be completely full.
But the chamber just uses one side, right? Correct, market days, yes. So, but y'all don't use it all the way down to 4th Street, right?
Yes, they block it off.
I mean, they block it up, but what I'm saying, you can put the bus there and everybody can
Yes.
be on this side
Yes.
if they coordinate and try to put it together, because I do believe that one, as a business on a Saturday, is usually open on the far end, and I know y'all want the other far end,
Right.
but,
In front of the probation office is where you're talking.
yeah, I'm just saying, starting from 4th Street all the way down to the corner of this one, what is it, 3rd? And fit everything, and then I don't know, do y'all use the courthouse too, or no? Maybe we can use the county
courthouse lawn as well, yes.
you know, and put it all together. I mean, it's an iffy thing too, because, I mean, you could be closing both sides, and I don't know about that.
Now, 3rd Street isn't closed at all, is it?
No, but if they close both ends, you know, at least it travels down both businesses, and maybe they can fit, if they all get together in a group, maybe can all fit it all on one side. I don't know.
Can I make the recommendation that the chamber and the Now Ministries try to work this out together and then come back to the council at the next meeting with a plan for that addresses the concerns of the council as well as the concerns of the chamber and the Now Ministries, and I think we have an opportunity for a great event, and we just need a little bit of coordination before we say, okay, yeah, we're going to close the street.
No, I believe it's a good event and everything. It's just, you know, we gotta look at, I know that a couple of businesses came to me and said, well, why is it blocked? You know, what do I answer to them? Well, they didn't talk to me, and they're not saying y'all, I'm just saying different, but yeah, we can table it, but no, we'll work something out eventually.
Or you work with the chamber?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And again, if need be, we would stay on one side of the street. I don't know if the chamber would actually want it to be closed, but if need be, we'd be willing to stay on one side and not have to.
You would have to be on the same side.
Right.
Is
Yeah,
the-
On the same side as them and not have to close the area, but yes,
Opposite
absolutely.
side of the line is where you would have to be.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think if we close the street for a big event, that's a good thing to do. We just need to do all the coordination pieces in it. And it may work out that we don't have to close the street. I don't know, but I think between Mr. Vipond and the manager there at the chamber and your group can work out something and come back to us with that at the next council meeting in April. That gives us plenty of time. I'll make the motion to table to the approval of the street closure on Sunday, May 12th, 2013 for the health fair presented by Now Ministries with the amendment that it was for May 18th.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion to table. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Miller, second by Councilman Guerrero to table this item. All in favor?
Could you just make the amendment to table it to the next city
To the
council
next
meeting?
city council meeting. Carrie, did you
Thank you,
make
ma'am. Thank you, council.
Motion carries
Philip.
4-0.
Philip, will you be ready by the next council meeting to present the road closure for the market days?
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
As long as Mickey does a good job.
Is there someone here representing for the closing of the Easter drama?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go on to F, consideration and action to approve street closure on Friday, March 29th, which is tomorrow, for Easter drama, The Passion of Christ.
Mayor and council, excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry.
Is it the same street or this side, or what
Which
street?
side?
It would be right in front of, per se, the probation office area. And again, you know, just to state, my name is Eric, I'm the Associate Pastor for the Christian Fellowship. But I'm pretty much mirroring what they're asking for. We have not visited with the businesses. We've done this numerous years before. We usually wait every 2 years to do it. It would begin here in front of City Hall, take a left down D Street, right down 3rd, and another right on C Street, where we would actually place the trailer that's carrying all the items for such drama. We've already got and done our work on behalf with the county, and everything has been approved, and we are seeking that closure. Times, we can make times work, whatever is suitable for you all. It would be a 1-lane closure. All parking would be on this side of the courthouse on our behalf. And whatever else needs to take place in all measures of safety, of course, we're going to work with the police department and everybody else to make sure it's all done in accordance. The whole drama itself should last between 30 to 45 minutes. Most of the time would be for preparation and to tear down and, of course, pack and take it back to our facilities. That's the bulk of it, and we can adjust accordingly, however deemed fit by you all, the council, and anybody else here with us.
Normally it's been done in the evening, right?
Yes, sir, indeed. And I believe everybody is being released from the, around even county and city at 12 o'clock. So we shouldn't be interfering with anybody's business on behalf of county or city on this side. We won't be any further down, going down on C Street. It would be between 3rd and 4th Street.
And just the one side.
One side, sir, yes.
It sounds like you've done your homework on this. I'm going to make the motion to approve. This is tomorrow. There's not, and this is a 30 to 45 minute thing. This is not a half a day thing. I'm going to make the motion to approve the street closure on Friday, March 29, 2013, for Easter drama of Passion of Christ with coordination with the Floresville Police Department.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Miller, second by Councilman Morones. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you all. Appreciate your time.
Now we're going to go on to 4, Presentation, discussion, possible action, A, building permits.
Okay, Mayor and Council, I will try to make it as brief as possible, and I put it on the screen for the citizens in attendance. There was a request to make a presentation on what our permits department process is to obtain permits and to subdivide for the new developments that are coming into town. I did provide 3 sets of paperwork or documents pertaining to this that are pretty detailed, and I know that knowing my council, they like to be informed and they like to read the stuff before they make any decisions. But I wanted to make sure that we gave you a brief. Cindy Nichols could not be here. She is in Oklahoma City with her family for the Easter holidays. So I want to give you a quick brief on the McCoy's development. The timeline, September 13, 2012, a resolution agreement adopted by City Council, which is the agreement that we keep talking about that was entered into with the EDC, the city, and the McCoy's development. November 7, 2012, P&Z approved the preliminary plat. November 29, 2012, City Council approved preliminary plat. February 15, 2013, issued building permit. First question, I believe Councilman Miller had. March 6, 2013, P&Z approved the final plat. March 14th, the City Council approved the final plat. Operational procedures for issuing building permits. Cindy Nichols is the one that drafted this for me. So receive the building permit with the City of Floresville. The developer will need to fill out an application and submit 2 sets of complete building plans. Please see checklist for building permit. The plans are sent to the Bureau Veritas. I have a hard time pronouncing that. Plano, Texas for plan review. We have that contract with them. We don't have a review process in-house. We contract with this company. The plans are reviewed and sent back to the City of Floresville for issuance of a permit. Bureau will conduct inspections of the project and turn a report of the inspections to the City of Floresville for record and documentation. Current ordinances for building permits. The City of Floresville adopted the current edition of the International Building Code, which is a 2009 IBC, and IRC, which is International Business and Residential Code. Cindy Nichols works really close with the engineer, with our legal, and with the P&Z. Process for new construction. Developer will meet with staff and engineer for a preliminary conference of planning and building procedures with the City of Floresville. This time, Cindy will hand them a subdivision plat checklist, building permit checklist, copy of the subdivision ordinance, and the building permit application. Developer will submit a preliminary plat, which will consist of all infrastructure, drainage plans, flood plan study if applicable, and street improvements for the development. Form and contact is detailed in the subdivision ordinance for the developer engineer to follow. Cindy will submit the preliminary plat to the city engineer, which is Larry Heimer, Beering Partners, for review and comments. Cindy will then schedule a P&Z meeting for approval of the preliminary plat. By this time, the preliminary plat should be to the city's ordinance and codes. By the time the P&Z gets at all of those documents and the city engineer's comments are added, or much of the time the city engineer is sitting in on the P&Z. Cindy will then schedule a P&Z meeting. We've already talked about that. Once the P&Z make the recommendation to approve the preliminary plat, it will be put in the following available City Council meeting for approval. Once the preliminary plat is approved, the developer can start the improvements in the property, which is utilities, streets, and drainage. During that time, the city will conduct inspections of the improvements to the development. The developer will submit the final plat for review and comments. Cindy will send it to the city engineer and schedule a meeting with the planning and zoning for
Can I
approval.
stop there?
Yes, sir.
On the previous page, you said that Bureau Veritas conducts inspections, that we didn't have the people to do that. But then, on this next page, you state that the city will conduct inspections of the improvements. Is that the
The
contract?
contract, yeah,
Okay.
for the city, representing the city, yes, sir. The developer will submit the final plat for review and comments, and it will send it to the city engineer and schedule a meeting with the planning and zoning for approval. Once the P&Z approves the final plat, it will then go to the city council for approval. Once the plat is approved, Cindy will retrieve signatures from the city council and record the plat in the courthouse when their improvements are done and checked by the city of Floresville. The developer will then submit building plans and applications for review. Cindy will send them to the bureau. Once they come back, the permit office stamps, review, Cindy will issue the permit. And one thing, of course, the council is aware, and Philip, who's in attendance, understands Cindy's one person. And that's the permits, and she relies